It is something that no one can deny. God has spared his life twice now. These things aren't accidents. It's not luck. I believe it's providence.
Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson states that divine intervention is what we can point to explain how Donald Trump survived a second assassination attempt. And to be quite honest with you, that is the most sane thing you're going to hear throughout this segment, because boy, oh boy, do people have some interesting theories here. Let's go to Representative Tim Burchett, who's claiming that the Secret Service is compromised, even though the Secret Service saved Trump's life. Let's watch.
The problem is you've got a Secret Service, at least in my opinion, and in the public's eye, that is compromised and that it lacks in leadership. And you've got brave agents on the ground, obviously one who took that shot. But why in the world would anybody be anywhere near the perimeter of this? This line of sight that we talk about is just beyond me. So we've got to get some answers. I don't think we're going to get them during this administration, but hopefully under the Trump administration, we'll clean this rat's nest out.
Now, to be fair to Congressman Burchett, it wasn't until a press conference later today where we learned from the Secret Service that luckily Trump was not in the line of sight for this would-be assassin. But nonetheless, the overarching allegation here remains. He's trying to blame the Secret Service and allege that they're compromised, when even Trump himself doesn't think that's the case. In fact, in a Truth Social post, actually this is an X post, he wrote, "I would like to thank everyone for your concern and well wishes." And then later he says that most importantly, I want to thank the US Secret Service, Sheriff Rick Bradshaw, and his Office of Brave and Dedicated Patriots, and all of the law enforcement for the incredible job done today at Trump International in keeping me safe. So I don't know where Burchett is coming from, but it's not helpful to start engaging in insane conspiracy theories immediately after there's an attempt to assassinate Trump.
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it. I think that if things are compromised and there's a deep state and they're looking to kill someone, they usually let the guy take the shot. So if you said it about the first assassination, at least there's some like a thread of logic you could hang it on, right? But in the second one, the Secret Service got there and shot at the guy before the guy even took a shot. They were well ahead of Trump. They couldn't have been more vigilant. They couldn't have saved his life any more than they did. And again, the assassin never got a shot off, the would-be assassin. So where's the goddamn conspiracy? But they can't help themselves. Like, so Burchett had a bunch of run-ins with Kevin McCarthy, and he's one of the hardliners. And in that battle, I actually agreed with Burchett. So look, these are crazy times where people are all over the map on the political spectrum, et cetera. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I'm not saying, oh, I'm never gonna listen to Burchett, or that means Kevin McCarthy is right, or et cetera. But the guys on the right wing, especially these elected representatives, you gotta bring it all the way down with your lunatic conspiracy theories. Like in the old days, saying a crazy conspiracy theory when you're an elected official was a big, giant thing that gets you, sanctioned, maybe removed from office, and everybody would go collectively, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, how dare you? Now the right wingers are just like throwing them out wherever they, oh yeah, maybe the Secret Service is trying to murder Donald Trump. That's gonna drive so much hatred out of nothing. That's insanity. So stop saying crazy stuff that makes the situation more volatile and more dangerous.
Now, Elon Musk found himself in some hot water after he posted something on X and then later deleted it following the backlash he got for it. So he tried to play this off as a bad joke, but the since deleted post read as follows: "And no one is even trying to assassinate Biden/Kamala," with a thinking emoji. But later he took it down and again tried to play it off as a joke, saying, well, one lesson I've learned is that just because I say something to a group and they laugh doesn't mean it's going to be all that hilarious as a post on X. Good job in realizing that, and I don't think it was ever meant to be a joke, but okay, let me continue. He also writes, turns out the jokes are way less funny if people don't know the context and the delivery is plain text. Can we just stop? Like, can we please stop. Like, things keep devolving. This is now the second assassination attempt against a major, candidate in the presidential election. This is crazy. And even if I'm going to take what he's saying at face value and it was a joke, is this a responsible thing to post on social media? Literally the day a second would-be assassin tried to assassinate Donald Trump?
Yeah, so easy to tell if this is appropriate or not. So if you're MAGA and you think, it's just joking about murdering Biden and Kamala Harris, what's the big deal? Now flip it and imagine if, pick your favorite villain, Nancy Pelosi, whoever, said, and no one was able to murder Donald Trump yet? It's so funny. Would you think that was funny? No, you would think, we're just trying to kill him. Look at this, they're trying to get him killed. All right. Oh, so it's not funny when one side does it, but when your side does it, it's always funny, trolling, ha, he. This, like the whole trolling thing, it's just the biggest excuse ever for awful behavior. Whenever Donald Trump says something disgusting and vile, they're like, he's just trolling, he's just trolling. Oh, so our presidential candidate should be saying disgusting things to troll people, and you think that's normal, even if it were true? He wasn't. Trump is never trolling when he says it. He totally means it. In this case, I believe Elon Musk, which is kind of funny. I believe that he was talking to a bunch of yes men that are around him because there isn't anyone else. And he said, no one's trying to kill Kamala, even bother to try to kill Biden or Kamala. And all of his yes men are like, oh, that's so funny, Elon. Where's my money? Where's my money? That's so funny, Elon. So he thought, oh my God, I'm a cool kid. I'm gonna write that on X.
What's the punchline? How is this a joke?
Because he's, okay,
What's the joke?
Here's my guess.
That no one cares about them enough to try to, oh, wow. Oh,
they're
such a funny joke.
They're too boring to assassinate.
Okay.
Okay, so, all right, look guys. If you're the richest man in the world and you own one of the biggest platforms on planet Earth, and you think it's a good idea to put a joke about how Biden and Kamala, no one's tried to assassinate them yet, well, with a thinking like makes you think like, hey, that you didn't think that might be misinterpreted as, hey, they keep taking shots at Trump. Why doesn't one of you do the same for Kamala or Biden? You didn't think that was a possibility to the millions of people you reach with that post? Come on, brother. I mean, Jesus, does this guy have any common sense at all? Even in the best case scenario, the most positive interpretation that you could possibly put on it, and it's still a deeply moronic thing to do and very irresponsible. And the fact that he can't tell is what's concerning.
Our politics have completely devolved into anything other than solutions or real substantive, detailed policy proposals to improve the lives of Americans. And it's because of people who aren't really struggling, who are doing real well for themselves already under the current system. And it's people like Elon Musk. So he's happy to engage in the, continued behavior that causes our political system and our politics to devolve, because he's not looking for solutions. He doesn't care about solutions. He's doing real well. So it's already been an hour. We spent an hour talking about another assassination attempt against a major presidential candidate, Donald Trump. None of this improves anyone's life. All the conversation right now is about conspiracy theories, finger pointing, who's responsible, whose rhetoric is worse. And by the way, Elon Musk was outdone by the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, which posted this on X and later deleted it. They wrote, anyone who murders Kamala Harris would be an American hero.
And by the way, though, after they deleted it, they pretended they were free speech heroes and that they had to take it down because of evil X that was censoring them. When they were just talking about murdering political opponents,
right.
What's the big deal? But look, fair is shown America. That account causes nonstop problems. They don't speak for all libertarians or even anywhere near it. It's just run by one wacko who just is desperate for attention and so says ludicrous, insane things like that over and over.
In fact, I did see some libertarians very openly and aggressively denouncing this, including libertarians out of New Hampshire who want nothing to do with this guy. But I do want to just go to one final element to this story because, It is problematic when you have a sheriff, and this is the sheriff of Portage County, Ohio, essentially encouraging people to target Democratic voters after this second assassination attempt against Donald Trump. So here is what he wrote. This is Bruce Zakowski, who again is the sheriff in Portage County, Ohio. In a Facebook post, he wrote, "Write down all the addresses of the people who had her signs in their yards," meaning Kamala Harris signs. And then it continues, "So when the illegal human locusts, which she supports, need places to live, will already have the addresses of their new families who supported their arrival." So this guy isn't only fired up over the assassination attempt against Donald Trump. Obviously, he is also using this as an excuse to target Democrats over immigration policy.
Yeah, of course, if shoes on the other foot, which we ask you guys to do every time you think about how you're gonna react to right wingers, because we want you to be fair. If the shoe was on the other foot to this guy and they said, "Oh, make sure you write down that sheriff's home address so we can go visit him when we need to," right? He would probably arrest me. Because he's like, "Wait, that's me. You can't, no, not my home address. That's a threat against me. And me, I matter, me." Okay, oh yeah, them? Yeah, let's just write down their addresses and threaten them all day long, because who cares? They're not me, it doesn't count. That's why like Trump does 1,000 dangerous rhetorics all the time, including today when he then turns around and says Biden and Kamala Harris are a domestic enemy and they're the real threat, right? And then none of it counts, none of it counts. And then somebody does something to Trump, he's like, "Oh my God, dangerous rhetoric, dangerous rhetoric." You just noticed the dangerous rhetoric? The same kind that you've been using for the last 10 years? And you just noticed it? No, for a lot of conservatives, not all of them, but for a lot of them, they think if it happens to me, then it's super important. If it happens to you, I don't give a damn about it. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.